The International Committee of the Red Cross ICRC has called on all stakeholders to strengthen efforts to ensure that various treaties of international humanitarian law are domesticated for implementation in Nigeria. Deputy Head of Delegation for the ICRC in Nigeria said this in Abuja during an ECOWAS annual review meeting. He said that the year 2024 marks the 75th anniversary of the 4 Geneva Conventions of August 12, 1949, the cornerstone of international humanitarian law, and the 160th anniversary of the very first Geneva Convention of 1864.
ICRC works with the member states such as Nigeria as well as others in the ECOWAS to ensure that various treaties of international humanitarian law are first domesticated for implementation, and then after domestication they are brought down further at the policy as well as standard operating procedures level, so that these laws are applicable when the time comes. To give you an example, if the members of the armed forces know what to do, it's not just because they know the Geneva Convention. It's how the Geneva Conventions or other parts of humanitarian law are translated into their behavior through training. And that training has to be then ensured that at the time of conduct of operations, that behavior is compliant with international humanitarian law. Therefore, ICRC works with various actors in a country such as Nigeria as well as other countries in the region, with the members of the armed forces, with the Ministry of Justice officials, with organizations such as ECOWAS, parliaments, police, other security forces, to ensure that these laws are not only understood but are applied. So, starting from the top tier of the government right down to the ground level where the soldier is taking part in hostilities, we would like to ensure that everyone is aware of their responsibility as per international humanitarian law.
In her speech, the Director of Humanitarian and Social Affairs of the ECOWAS Commission said the Commission was collaborating with ICRC to ensure protection of the vulnerable populations affected by conflicts.
As ECOWAS Commission, to really enhance the implementation of the international humanitarian law within our region, we have worked collaboratively with the ICRC, and we have adopted a regional action plan. We use this regional action plan to really support our member states to ensure that there's protection for people that are vulnerable and affected by conflict. Another thing that we have been able to do over the years, also, you can see that we have enhanced the development of policies and programs. For example, in Nigeria, you had the permanent secretary saying that they've developed a policy for IDPs in Nigeria. They've strengthened the National Commission for Refugees and Migrants in Nigeria. And so, these are really steps in the right direction to make sure that those who are vulnerable, affected by conflict, are protected, they are provided for, and their human rights respected within the region.
Also speaking, the focal person for the National Committee for the Implementation of International Humanitarian Law in Nigeria said domestication will help fill some gaps in the implementation of international humanitarian law.
So when these treaties are signed and they are domesticated, they are assumed into our law and they become binding on all of us. So even citizens, the public, they're also expected to watch out for either infractions of the provisions of these treaties in our country and then report them. You can report them even to the government. And